Mentioned Malik. Malik is a guy that has a tremendous skill set. Joaquin Gill. I mean, just the list goes on. Landry has been a great special teams guy for us and has made some plays. And so as we continue to work, with that group, and again, it's a young group, inexperienced in that way. I expect everybody in that room, if you get an opportunity, you got to take advantage of them, and they're going to get opportunities. It's just a matter of us preparing and getting our minds right every week.
Where's Sebastian at right now in terms of getting on the field and maybe making an impact in the passing game?
He's right where he needs to be in some aspects. I think he needs to continue to get better, just overall, catching the football, just doing the detailed things. He's a guy that has another tremendous skill set, just with his size, his length, and things like that. But consistency is the biggest thing, I believe, with him. He's becoming a lot more physical in the run game and has shown that in games. And so, we're able to personnel guys and get them in there to a certain degree on specific situations. And those also lend to how the game is going, the flow of the game, just with the different things that may happen throughout the course of the game. Whether it's run or pass, it doesn't matter. In particular, with just a game that might be kind of stalemated, you have to be active. You have to go look for work. You have to just make sure you stay engaged. And we all played in games like that and been around games like that. And that's the toughest thing to do as a player, because you think that you can just snap your fingers and something is going to happen. You have to make sure that you just try to make things work just throughout the flow of the game and just within what the scheme is.
With the Baylor-Iowa State tape that I'm sure you've watched a lot of already, they really kind of found success. Iowa State found success in that fourth quarter, getting some passes through the air. Have you focused on the fourth quarter to see what works well, or are you kind of focusing more on those first three to see how Baylor shut them down there?
Focused on really the overall game. Obviously we spent some time watching the fourth quarter and things like that, but we've watched all their games, the 2019 season, and just whatever edge we can find, whether it's the most recent game or the first game, there's always something that you're looking for to find a competitive advantage. And so, we've utilized all the games, all the footage, and we're going to continue to do it up till that Saturday morning and things like that when we go over our tips and reminders. And you're always looking for something, and that preparation will continue on obviously through the rest of this week, and we'll see how it goes.
With the benefit of hindsight and watching the film, did you think your group was closer to making more plays Saturday than you thought watching it live, or about the same?
I think they were closer than what I saw live. Again, it's a matter of those guys just. Consistency is the biggest deal, and being able to make sure that they're good technique-wise, and we have to take pride in winning the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You got to take pride in it, and I think that was a good wake-up call for guys, and not only just for everybody, just for guys to understand that, look, every day that you have a chance to compete, you have to take advantage of it. And you don't win games on Saturday. You win them, on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. That's when you win games. And that was my biggest message to the guys after last week. That we have to prepare a lot better, and a lot of it's probably more mental than anything. Because physically, we're going to get the work done, but it has to be work that is basically there's a purpose to the work. You're not just going through the motions. That they understand what we're doing.
Yeah. How's Malik coming along right now?
He's coming along really well. He's moving around. He's fun to coach because he always has a smile on his face. The times that he wasn't practicing, he's there, right there in the mix as far as getting guys lined up. He's got a script. He's talking to guys, coaching guys through in and out of their breaks. What they can do with their hand placement and blocking and things like that. So he's moving along really well, and I think I'm just excited to get him rolling.
How different does it seem like a defense will play you when he's not out there on the field?
I don't know that it's that different. I know that he's made some plays. He's only scratched the surface, I think, and what he's going to really be. He's very talented. But again, I think everybody sees what we see. You see Dalton Schoen. Okay, he's played in games. He's a senior. And then you look down the roster, and again, it's guys who have not played. They haven't had really any in-game experience. So I think that no one's really going to prepare for us differently in that way, because they can look at the roster and easily say, hey, this is a young group. They got one senior in there. There's no returning starters besides the one guy. So here's what our game plan can be. I don't think they're going to, try to bracket certain guys or anything like that. at this point, and a lot of that's on us to make plays. And if you end up being a guy that's a true playmaker and you deserve that attention, then that'll happen. But at this point, I think people are just they're getting their game plans right, and as we are, and we're rolling that way.
We always wonder about young guys that we're not seeing as much. How are like Chris Herron and Keenan Garber coming along in their practice?
They're coming along really well. I challenged them this week to make sure they're still learning the offense.
Yeah.
Obviously being on the scout team and reading a card is a lot different than coming up and getting in our huddle and not getting a play prior to getting it out in the huddle. So those guys have to take pride in knowing that any cut up or anything that we send to them through their iPads, they have to be watching it too. And that's been my message to them. Like, I put out a comment and it's talking about how Dalton Schoen needs to be running a post. Well, guess what, Keenan? You need to be looking at that.
Right.
Chris, you need to be looking at that. Because at the end of the day, our message to all these guys has been, you always have to be prepared. You never know what's going to take place, and obviously the 4-game deal and all that. But at the end of the day, they have to prepare as if they're playing. And it's easy when you have the technology to do it. Now it's just that individual person saying, I'm going to not play Fortnite all night, and I'm going to actually look at my iPad and look at what's going on with football.
Right.
How close is Joshua Youngblood from helping more in the passing game?
Close. I mean, he's explosive. I mean, I think we handled the ball a couple times this past game. He made a few plays down the field as far as just with his feet. But he's another guy, and as I'm going through the Rolodex in my head of guys, what they've done since they've been here, he's a guy that's proven that he understands our offense, not to the degree that we need him, but obviously because he's playing right now and getting significant reps, I would say that he just needs to continue to get better and learn what we're doing specifically now by game plan for each opponent. But he's a kid that's explosive and he has the ability to make plays. And again, it's just a matter of getting into the flow, moving the football, being productive, and keeping the sticks moving. And then you start to see the offense open up. And that's with any offense. You got to move the chains and make sure that you're able to get to some of those plays that you've game planned for. And just and everything balances out between defense and offense and football. And that's where we're at right now.